Your domain name matters. Okay.
Hi. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, good morning. Did everybody of you watch Portugal against Spain yesterday? No, I did, so that's why I'm a little bit tired today, so please excuse me, because I'm from Germany, so football is the most important thing for us. Is there anybody from Brazil here? No? No Marcelo, no FreeBSD? Okay, because last time was 7-1, I just want to mention it, so if you do any betting right now, I know Hong Kong is a place to bet. You should always bet on Germany. Okay, so yeah, okay. So that's for football. Yeah, so I want to talk to you about why a domain name matters. And the thing is, we now live in a world where you have social media and major silos and platforms which become like the platform where everybody is based on, and people put a little bit less focus on their brand or their branding. So I want to show you why branding is important and why also a domain name in that context is important. So I'm working at Gandhi, so I founded the Asian business unit of Gandhi in 2014, and we have been supporting the Hong Kong Open Source Conference since 2015, I think. This is actually the second time it's at this place, right? Before it was twice at the Cyberport. Yeah, so now we are back here. And I always like this conference because it's mostly developers who are here, and it's mostly people who like to talk about software and who are actually using software and who are using a lot of open source. And so Gandhi is a domain name registrar. All of our system is built on open source. We use a lot of Python. All of our backend is internally stored with Git. We did a lot of transition with open source as well. So originally we started with CVS, then we moved to SVN. We are a company which is founded in 1999, and it was founded by two people in France, which are actually very known before then for open culture and open source. So Gandhi doesn't do any advertisement. We mainly support this kind of conferences, and we support open source projects and many open source initiatives as well. And due to that, many of the open source softwares like Python, Debian, they're using us for their domain name. And so we are also a very popular registrar for .org, and .io. We manage 2.3 million domain names. We also have our hosting product, which is built on our own stack. And we also a certificate authority for SSL. Yeah, so that's a little bit about us. And so I want to talk to you a bit first about what is the disadvantage if you only rely on social media for your company, for your project, or I know open source is not always only on social media, but you can see like GitHub or some of these platforms like social media a little bit as well, because they're also silos which work very well, but they're not just enough to promote your product or not to promote your brand or to engage more people in working on your project. So to give you a quote, Mark Zuckerberg said, he said like, in January, he found out that actually people, they're not that engaged anymore on Facebook because they get too much spam, too much advertisement. So he's going to change the algorithm again. I stopped posting on Facebook probably at the end of December last year because I got too much spam and too much ads. There was nothing interesting anymore on my stream anyway. So I kind of agree to him, but I think he's also the root cause. I mean, he's obviously he makes money, or Facebook, the company makes money if they put more ads. So if your project is not relevant to them, or if they see like, this kind of thing is not interesting for people who are working somewhere, they will no longer show you data, or unless you select that you want to see it first, and maybe you won't see it. So I've been following a couple of pages who have been posting updates actually, and only when I visit their pages I actually see that they have been actually posting stuff which I never noticed. So I just, with this, be careful, because these platforms, they keep changing their algorithms, and you never know how to trust them or what they're building. In the same time, Facebook is also doing a lot of open source, like React and and a lot of Python code as well. And they're actually using a domain name for all of these projects. Each of their projects has a domain name. So if you go to the Facebook open source page, you will see that each of their projects actually has their own domain name. So for me, if I look at our Facebook page, we don't have many followers on Facebook, and actually I don't really care. But the thing is, the first thing I see is if I go to our Facebook, there's always tons of notification. Hey, why don't you advertise a little bit more? Hey, you haven't been engaging anyone. So all this thing seems to be going on about is like pushing for attention. So Facebook, obviously, they want more posts, they want more content from me, because this will obviously drive more views, and more views means more advertisement and more distraction from my page to show someone else. So in one way, it's like it's a little bit like a vicious circle, because on one hand they ask me to post more, and then Facebook is complaining at the same time, okay, hey, we see that there's too many irrelevant things. Maybe you should stop asking me to post irrelevant things. So it seems to be all about attention. And I think attention nowadays, actually the most important thing you can get, right, is attention. Everybody wants attention. If you're not following attention to my speech right now and you look on your phone, that means Mark Zuckerberg has won, right? So attention is the most important thing. And so if you look at a social media platform compared to your own site, and I'm not just talking about domain name like maybe a GitHub website, you can see that you're always limited a little bit to their own things. You cannot really have like, okay, if you want to have a special page and you want to put up a notification, you cannot really do it. If you want to promote some product or promote people to contribute, maybe there's a way in GitHub to put a banner, but you don't always have the way to maintain that so easily you won't actually see how people engage with you. You have less access to statistics if you use social media platforms. You have less means to modify actually what you can present. Of course, it's a great way to start, GitHub pages or any other platform which is social media, but you should always consider that it's not really enough to build an engagement. And of course, you also have to follow the platform rules. So if they decide suddenly like, hey, maybe you are violating someone's thing because you are forking the wrong project, or you should not use this name of a project, they're gonna just shut you down, and maybe your workflow is screwed. Yeah. So if you have your own website, the advantage is that you can have unlimited content, so nobody's going to ask you to limit your posts, or you can have better quality data as well. You can put bigger images. You can make better use of your own content platform, and you can extend it as well. So you can have multiple contributors. You don't need to use someone else's login system. You can actually have better control about all the function on your website or on your system. And many people, they always forget this. They say like, website is expensive to maintain. It's difficult to use. I need someone who knows how to do PHP, because probably that's all, but all the CMSs are nowadays. And PHP is ugly. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, but so you see, I mean, I show some things here, which is like, okay, that you can better scale if you have your own website, and that you also can actually build more funny things. So the advantage if you have your own domain name is that you can actually build a brand. So if Python wouldn't have their own website, it would probably still be as popular, because people, they just use it compared to Perl, which was kind of the predecessor of Python. But you actually have the way that you can engage with people. You can build a brand around it, and you can also protect that brand. So if you have an interesting name for a project and you think this is a great open source project, you can trademark it even and say like, okay, this is something you can build on. And maybe you can even find a sponsor for your website. So if you have your website and say like, okay, hey, it's going to be very tough to ask someone to sponsor a GitHub page, right? But if you have a website, if you have a brand, it's much easier to ask some other bigger company, even Microsoft, for example, which is very much involved with open source, because as we know, they now own GitHub. They were more likely to sponsor your webpage if you have your own brand. So their marketing team doesn't really care about where you're hosted, but if they see that you have your own brand, your own domain name, they're probably going to support you better. And yeah, so what you can also do then with your own domain name is you can have less distraction for your visitor. If you're posting on social media, if you're posting on GitHub, there might be distractions from that website. We don't know what happens now with GitHub if there's going to be ads to sign up to Azure or which is Microsoft's cloud platform, but you will probably see more of that within the next 3 years once they have made their roadmap for GitHub, right? Yeah, so if having your own domain, having your own website, besides the cost of maintenance, it gives you a lot of advantage for actually building your own brand and building your own audience. So I want to give you some suggestions to find a good name as well. Because we are a domain name registrar, obviously we want people to register as many names as possible. So we manage more than 700 different top-level domain names, including .io, .org, .net, and there's many new top-level extensions. The most interesting one, I think, which just came up, is .app. So .app is run by Google Registry, and it's mandatory HTTPS. So you need to have HTTPS on the website. So they added them to the HSTS preload list, which is a list which is used by Chrome and Firefox, that the website can only be accessed in HTTPS. I think you can run other services on it which are not HTTPS, as long as you're not accessing them with a browser who's relying on HSTS. But so .app is one of the interesting. The upcoming ones, the next ones are .web, .llc, and I think .inc is coming up as well. So the new top-level extensions, they have now more interesting coming up after a couple of months where there were not so interesting extensions, like there was .icu and I forgot what it was. Yeah, some extensions I don't even remember. Okay, and if you go to our website, you can see that we give you a bunch of suggestions for domain names. So we're having our own system called TLD Suggest, and we're not using it. The ranking is not based on what is the best for us to sell, but it's based on actually what is around your area of interest. For example, if you say you're in Hong Kong, we will propose you more likely .hk, because we saw that other people around you have been buying a .hk before. So the place where you see the most IO is probably the place where the most developers live. So if you're probably in Boston, then you will see that there's a lot of .io on the top. Yeah. So yeah, and so for the name suggestion, yeah, this is just a list. I think you can read it. I don't need to say it again. You can also find this presentation online afterwards. Yeah, so this is also TLD Suggest. If you go further than that and you say, okay, you want to build your own brand name, you want to have better protection, you actually want to have a naming strategy because you're not familiar with domain names. The same if you work for a company and you think they need it, you can talk to us and we can tell you, okay, what is the next markets you want to expand to? Do you want to go to Singapore, for example? Do you need a .sg domain name, and what are the rules? Because many of these domain names, they have specific rules, and they also have some. If you have a trademark, for example, you can get a co.th domain name in Thailand. If you don't have a trademark, you can't get it. So a lot of registries, they have their specific rules, and you can talk to our corporate team about getting your brand protected. You can check our website simply just for what are the names available. If you have an open source project and you say like, hey, it's better I register the name for it, because eventually I will ask people to engage with me, so I want to register my .io domain name, so you can find if the name is available. And at this conference, we actually have a free .io domain name if you want. You don't need to enter your credit card; it's really free. No backup credit card either. Okay, so we're not asking for your payment data for at least 1 year. Yeah. And you should also know that every domain name comes with a 10-day hosting trial. So we have a WordPress one-click install, so you could just basically set up your website today without paying anything. And we have 2 mailboxes with 3 GB storage for each domain name as well. So you can use it for email as well. I know most people use Gmail nowadays. Based on the signups from every conference, I see it's like 80% Gmail. But I think you can do better filtering of email and better engagement with your own brand if you use it in email as well. And finally, we also have free web directions. So if you insist and you still want to use only social media, you can just redirect the website to your Facebook or GitHub page. Okay, yeah, and that's all for me. Yeah, please visit us.